Yep, there it goes.
Good to go?
Okay, you're good to go.
Come on, come so they can see you.
Yep.
So, hello, everybody. Want them to see you too.
Oh.
So we are both here to represent two parts of P4K. I am here for the doing stuff in the class with the kids part. Lacey is here representing the opportunity to volunteer in the community part of P4K because we are an organization that does both. So I'm going to talk about what we want from you guys and how it's going to go for you in the classroom. Lacey will be here to share information about ways to get involved otherwise. And then there are pieces from training that impact things that we both do when it comes to having folks come and interact with our students. So we're also here to answer questions. I'm super excited to do this in person for the first time because I've been just another face on the screen for the other couple groups and cohorts. So yeah, hello everybody. And thank you guys for stepping up and being people that are going to serve because I really appreciate that. We're going to need you guys to be competent, ready, and excited and able to handle lots of different people and cultures and things. And I'm here to tell you, you can't get more of that than in a middle school classroom with some 6th, 7th, or 8th graders or some of our 10th graders, because I know we have the high school side set up for you as well. So that's what you're going to get to see from us. And you'll have the chance to make some things that will impact the students' lives and education. So I definitely want you guys to take this serious and take the things that we say to heart. Lacey, anything you want to share?
No.
Okay, I'm putting
I was.
her on the spot.
Yes, I haven't done this one yet. I actually just started in April. I've been working with youth programming for a while here in the Omaha area, specifically mentoring, but with Partnership for Kids. This will be my first round with the Methodist students here. So.
And this is my 10th year with P4K, so I'm definitely well versed in the program, but I'm from some of the same neighborhoods that the kids in P4K live in, so I'm also speaking with that in mind and from that in the heart as well. So you can go to the next slide. So your guests coming into the classroom to lead some activities and participate in some activities, but we want you guys to know what you're getting into in the first place. P4K has been around for 35 years. The school I'm from is McMillan Magnet Middle School. That is actually the school P4K started at 35 years ago. So I'm a proud representative of the legacy of P4K. And then since I'm the age I am, I literally have friends that were in the first two groups of P4K students in middle school that ever were part of P4K. So sometimes they pick up the phone and like seriously call me and ask me for inside information or insight on how P4K is doing. And I believe one of them is on the P4K board. So it's something that like we're here talking about it because we care about the kids, but I'm here to tell you like people in the community that know of and participate in P4K also care about what we're doing. So don't be surprised if in something you're doing, you're like, oh, hey, I'm doing this thing with Partnership for Kids. And people are like, oh, really? And they're excited to know more and they want to tell you about their experience. Because like I said, we've been doing this for 35 years. So there were P4K kids that are now grown-ups with kids in P4K. If you can believe that.
And to show the reach, so it's across the board, goal setting, mentoring, college, career. So we start in elementary school and go to high school and then continue after students are graduating as well. And so we have 15 schools right now. So when he says like in the community, it's kind of a lot, 5 elementary schools, 5 middle schools, 5 high schools. The high schools, some of being South, Central, Benson, North, Northwest. So it's across a big span of the Omaha area. And so that's why, like I said, you'll run into a lot of people in different places that have been a part of it.
Yeah, as Lacey was mentioning, these are the things that we do through the whole year. So you guys are coming in to both participate in activities in these areas, but also to facilitate an activity that falls underneath our social emotional development and lesson learning for our students. But the things that you come in to do aren't going to be social emotional lesson, like it'll be college exploration or career exploration or something that we are also doing as a topic that will give you a chance to come into the rooms and see what the students are like and kind of get a feel for the classrooms that you'll then be coming back here to work together to make lessons for. So we want you guys to see, dip your toes in, sit down at the table with the kids and interact with them, talk to them, get a feel for what the groups are like. Go to the next slide. So we are a very diverse organization. We believe in DEI as an understanding of what we're doing, primarily because most of the students in our program are a very diverse group of kids. Lacey mentioned South High School, North High School. I'm from McMillan. We're in Northeast and Southeast Omaha with one school not far from here. Lewis and Clark is just down past where all the construction for the crossroads is, but all the other schools are much further east from here. And I'd be lying if I didn't say it's a lot of brown kids. So 2 questions for you guys, since we're here talking, I'm asking you, number one, what do you think that means for us as people that are working with those kids? Second question, what do you think you'll see and hear when you come into those settings? Anybody have any ideas to share? I know you probably weren't expecting to be put on the spot, but I do want to know.
Probably a different kind of community from some of us have ever seen.
Yeah, there are definitely going to be kids that were raised differently from you, have a different experience than you have. Some of our mentors that come in similarly are people that we want to inspire the kids, but just a variety of backgrounds. Yes, ma'am.
I like what you touched on diversity. Like I personally graduated from Omaha West, so I know it's very diverse over there. And honestly, though, it's like a really great environment. So.
I love that you said that. Like, I would be lying if I didn't say I grew up here. I went to North High School. I know what the news media says about North and South Omaha in terms of whether or not they're good places to go and do things. I love showing off McMillan students and how awesome they are. We are the most northeast middle school in Omaha. And those kids are awesome, inspiring, and ready to go do great things. And you'll find that in all OPS schools. I'm an OPS student. I know this firsthand, both by being one of those kids, but I've been working with kids and families in Omaha for over 20 years now. So we want you guys to know you're coming to diverse schools, but it's going to be a fun experience. And then what do you guys think you're going to hear, just out of curiosity?
Different languages.
Some different languages, for sure. We have Korean students. We have students from lots of places in Africa. We have some other Asians represented. We have Native Americans in our groups, lots of Spanish kids, lots of African Americans, lots of white.
Percentage wise, 10 to 11% from high school to middle school are white. Upwards of 47% are identifying as African or Black, African American or Black, because Africans won't describe themselves as African American. They describe themselves as Black here. And then 9 to 11% are Asian or Pacific Islander. So we do have an increasing amount of refugee students that are coming, he said, from those African countries, Karen, Burmese. And so, yeah, those are some of those populations. That's just the number wise, just so you get an idea. I love numbers and percentages. So when he's saying it, it's real.
Yeah. And then in terms of what that means from you guys, as people that are going to make a lesson or make an activity or make some resources to use with our diverse student populations, one of the reasons we're having you come there first is so you can see them. But also we want you to take that knowledge to heart when you then turn around and work together to make some things that you're going to show our students. Like, we need you to make things that are going to reflect themselves back at them so that you get a better back and forth exchange from them. So the visual aids, you need to see some people of color in those. There's lots of cool videos. When you Google, you can find videos, but you cannot necessarily find lots of cool, diverse videos. So that's going to be one of your tasks, to actually find those resources, because we're looking for you to create stuff that we're going to keep using. So again, it needs to reflect our students and their experiences, and they need to see people that look like them in the things that you create or scenarios that they would go through if you're making case studies or discussion questions or whatever.
So I would say one of the biggest things about being inclusive and diverse is just that open mindset. Like you said, we're going into areas you might not be familiar with, have preconceived notions of what it looks like or sounds like, but just listening to the students because they tell fun stories and you'll hear those good things. And they'll give you feedback probably about what they've done in the program before or something. So really taking that opportunity with them to hear that stuff so then you can, reflect on it and then use that moving forward too. That's a really big part. It's just that listening piece.
Well, Lacey raised a great point. You also need to understand that the students in P4K, especially once we've got to our 10th grade group, they've invested time in being with us and learning from P4K activities. They trust when we have people come into the classroom that it's going to be a quality experience for them and they're going to grow from that. And they are literally earning a scholarship by participating in P4K. So we're asking you to, don't take the opportunity to challenge the kids, to get them involved, to get them interacting, but also know that like they're there for that. I'd be lying if I didn't say middle schoolers can make you work hard to get that from them, but they are there for that. They show up. They don't have to come to P4K. So we respect the fact that they do choose to participate with us and that their families choose to share their kids with us. So my team, the middle school team, I'll address the question mark first. We're hiring a person for Norris and we haven't hired that person yet. So the staff person at Norris, if I think of it and we get a picture of them, I'll send it to Allison so she can share with you guys. But I'm at McMillan, Amina is at Monroe, Jessica is at Mars, and Tanea is at Lewis and Clark Middle School. So that's the middle school team with the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade classrooms that you'll be seeing and working with. And we also have the high school team. So John is at North and Northwest, Aaliyah is at Central, Jenny is at South, Danny is at Benson. So those of you that are going to the 10th grade groups will see these folks working with the students at those schools. And then we also do lots of combination activities, crossover activities. So there are things where we'll pull our middle school students together or pull our high school students together to do things. That won't necessarily be something that you're doing as part of your specific activities, but our staff will definitely share and invite you to come and participate and check out some of those things. For example, September 20th, we're doing a back to school barbecue at Benson Park for all the 7th and 8th graders. You guys would totally be invited. We invite the guests and volunteers and mentors to come. If you can fit that in your schedule, come swing on the swings and have a hot dog with the kiddo.
Just real quick, do you guys understand what they do? Like, so that they're there at the high schools, they're there at the middle schools. Do you guys know like what that means? Should we describe, like, go to program coordinator? Did you describe what your role is?
Getting to that.
Okay, just checking. I was like, could we throw the names out?
So yes, these are the staff that you will see that will work with you, that will be communicating. And then these are the schools. Lacey mentioned some of them. 10 schools involved in the middle and high school. Just ran down the list, but these are the actual addresses for them so that you guys can, if you're not familiar with Omaha, you can put them in your mapping software app or whatever you use and figure out like what's the simplest and easiest way to get there.
And the site coordinators are great about like the week before sending, actually it's probably usually before that, sending out where to park and what door to come in and how to sign in and that type of thing. So just know you're like, okay, that address, what exactly do I do when I get there? That information will come to each of your groups so that you feel more confident. And then that especially helps the first time, you still might be a little lost, but then that second time, you're gonna know exactly what you're doing.
We actually have a whole email ready to go. We just don't know who's going to what school yet. So as soon as we know what schools you guys are going to, that actual staff person you just saw the pictures of will start the communication. Like, hey, here's my email, cell phone. This is where you sign in. This is where you should park, etc. Yes.
Quick question, is there any attempts to get involvement of this program with elementary schools?
Oh, I love that you asked that. We have a whole pre-K through 5th, 6th grade, which you share.
Yeah, so I kind of said we started at elementary school. So our elementary school program isn't mentoring, it's built a little bit differently. So we work with OPS schools during the school day. So we have the 5 elementary schools where we're at. And so we have volunteers that go into those classrooms and are from pre-K to 4th grade, they're reading to students. So they're going to take a book and they're going to read through a book. They'll do an activity with them, like related to the theme on that. And so that's what and then the students can take home that book. And so that's our lower elementary program. And then our upper elementary program for 5th and 6th grade, depending on school. They do goal buddies. So it's that group aspect where you have one volunteer to 3 or 4 students, and they're doing goal setting, like reviewing. So each student has their own math goal or literacy goal, like how much in reading they're getting done, or their attendance. And so we have volunteers checking in with them, being like, how did your last couple weeks look? And then doing an activity. That's kind of start to think on like how you plan ahead, looking at future things. Yeah, so that's our elementary program, but that's during the daytime from like a 9 a.m. and some of them will finish at like 2 hour slots throughout the elementary schools. Yeah. So that's like literacy and goal setting. And then we move on to the mentoring part because kids are like going to actively work through it. It's also just easier for liability. They have phones by then, you can text them, and they have social media and things. So a lot easier to rally with middle school and high schoolers for that.
And we get to go on field trips. Like we actually bring age group of our students here to tour Nebraska Methodist. Our 6th graders who come for a visit in the spring as part of their college and career exploration.
So they're really good partnerships with the OPS schools that we're in. Like it's a really inclusive, like we're just in it, like a part of it, not necessarily just we come in separately to do the stuff, but yeah, that we work within the school day to do. 4th grade, they go to UNO for their first college visit. So yeah, it's really integrated.
Yeah.
That's
And
professional.
like Lacey said, during the day, school day, we have elementary program. One of the things about book buddies that you'll find when you actually study literacy is they say kids pre-K through 4th grade need to get 100 books in order to stay at reading level. If they do the book buddy program, they've got 71 books from us. So we are serious about literacy and helping students with their goals and helping be that rising tide that rises all the boats here in Omaha. One of the things that I do want to touch on, you guys are going to come a couple times. You'll be surprised how fast the kids are interested in interacting with you. Not all of them, because some middle schoolers are a little bit standoffish, but a lot of them are excited to have our volunteers and have guests come in. They'll ask you lots of interesting things. You'll hear lots of interesting conversations, but it is about relationships. So we have mentors that come to our meetings. Lacey is actually part of the team that recruits people to be volunteers for those elementary programs and the after-school group mentoring programs in the middle and high school. So some of our schools, there will be other grown-ups there that are either already matched with kids or are looking to be matched with kids so that they have their team for activities and discussions. And one of the things that we do is we try and match people so that they can follow them all the way from middle school through high school and have a great mentoring relationship. Any of you guys have somebody you consider a mentor, just by show of hands? Yeah, like that's a valuable person to have. And we're an organization that helps facilitate some of those relationships. And even with your couple visits, like you're part of the mentoring of the Omaha community to show the kids in our schools that Omaha is a big place that has a lot of people that care about them and their success. So keep that in mind as well. And mentoring does bring its challenges, especially when you're working with middle school and high school students. You could think back to your own middle school, high school experience. I know you guys knew some people that seemed like they had it all together, that they knew how to handle everything. But then there was a huge pool of people that were like, oh my goodness, what is going on today? How do I get to 3 o'clock? And so we have a lot of kids that are going through that. And honestly, we don't know necessarily what they have going on at home. One of the things I've been told that I keep in mind and take to heart is you don't know what a kid brought to school in their backpack. Not talking literally, that's a metaphor. You don't know what they just had to brush off of their shoulders when they got off the bus to walk in the building. And so again, when I think about, hey, the P4K kids chose to come to P4K after school, that's important. And some of them are going through seriously challenging things. Some of them are going through the same old middle school things. Some of them are going through transitions either in their family or within themselves that make them harder to deal with sometimes. So we give them space. We welcome all the kids to P4K and all those staff people that you saw there. if you get a student that's giving you challenges, giving you trouble, acting up, we're going to be there in the classroom helping you out. So we'll ask you to sit down with a group of kids for the activities when you're there for a visit. And if one of them is acting up and being a total jerk, hey, Mr. Damien, would you come talk to this young person? We got your back.
Yeah, you're just like there to support the student and stuff. We're not asking you guys to be behavioral interventionists or anything. Just role models by being a decent person there in that space. It, makes a big difference to them. They, just need to see this from extra people and things. But yeah, we're not asking you to, get them in line or something. So, and they have relationships with the program coordinators. So, the program coordinators know what does work and what doesn't work for certain students, and that's all individual. So it's really great just to go to them first.
And at least personally for me with my Macmillan kids, I tell them they have one job, and their job in P4K, in addition to just showing up, is to make our guests want to come back and do more with them. We have volunteer mentors. We have you guys coming in to lead activities. Like, their job is to make sure you want to come back and do that again. So they should be good at that part. That being said, one of the things that, you guys are headed for this as service providers in the first place, but we talk about this with all of our volunteers. We're all mandatory reporters. So we all have to understand what our responsibility is for the kids, because I know you guys are going into healthcare, and also because I know you will have a staff person there with you the times that you're at the schools. I'm not going to go super into detail about the law, but just that every single one of you guys is what we consider a mandatory reporter. And in the conversations with the kids, in the observations of their interactions with each other, if you hear things that make you feel uncomfortable, if you hear things that make you have suspicions, if you hear things that just make you feel a little weird in the stomach, you need to let us know. Like, we're on that. And I'm speaking from experience here. I had to save a couple young ladies from being molested because one of the volunteers was like, hey, Damien, I read something in the text messages that you should know about. So this is important to us because these kids need to know we're a safe space for them. And like I said, we don't necessarily know what they have going on. So again, if there's something that comes up, you let us know. But I did put this in the slide because we literally do with all of our volunteer mentors. We background check them, and then we go line by line through the law. Like, look, this is responsibilities for all of us. Anybody that works with kids, that's around kids, should know what to look for and how to address it.
And some kids don't know. They might say something that, you're finding comfortable and it's not appropriate, or that again, you're just uncomfortable with that. So the thing to highlight is just suspicion. It doesn't matter whether you know or don't know. It's just an automatic, for safety reasons. It's not our job to do the investigating and things. We just do the reporting so that some professional can go in and do that. But as future healthcare providers or future service people, those people are legally held accountable to do reporting in those cases. You guys right now, volunteering with us and as mandatory reporters are not going to be held legally accountable for that. The reporting can be anonymous. You don't even have to put your name or anything there, just like submitting them in, just for, your own safety and stuff. But again, they know the kids and families, so it is helpful to go. There's a lot of cultural things that go along with that. I know, like, an example is, I think, coining for certain cultures on the back, that leaves a lot of marks, but it's a cultural practice that is safe, but it looks suspicious, right? And so sometimes you might know those, they might know them. So bringing it up or talking it over, and they can advise you, nope, make that call. Or again, if you don't know for sure, just the, investigators can investigate that, and they'll figure it out really fast.
Yeah, and, definitely professions that are expected to be looking for and paying attention to. So yes, you guys are entering into the healthcare field. There's already going to be an expectation of your interactions where you got to investigate, but you stop with all of us. And then, just as an aside, Lacey mentioned, like, we get to know the kids. I had a young man that he was just weird. He loved just randomly mentioning doing bodily harm to other people or committing crimes, or just, he was that weird kid. So I often got asked, like, when we were on the bank tour, he's like, Mr. Dame, what would you do if I robbed the bank right now? you know, or what would you do if I, you know, choked this person? He's just weird. There was nothing going on at home. There was nothing to be suspicious about. He was just a different dude. And I knew that about him, but I definitely got people that were like, hey, this young man, like, did you, you know, so I'm able to say, no, he's okay. So seriously, if there's something that comes up, if there's another little weird kid saying stuff, like, you let us know, we're able to help out with that. We're not going to make you do any of this stuff. That's what we're going to do. But again, this is what we talk about with our volunteers, because we're going to match them up with kids potentially, and then they're going to go off to the mall or to Burger King or to the skating rink and have private conversations with their group. So they do need to know how to do the interview, how to make the phone call, the phone number to call.
Yeah, so he's advising, like, if they say something, just kind of straight away, like, hey, yeah, just like redirect, because if you do get into the conversation being like, oh, so they hit you with this, now we're leading, and it's like an invalid report, basically. It's, you know, I mean, they're still gonna look into it, but the information that they get, they're like, oh, it wasn't open-ended, it wasn't just the kids' version, because now you've added things to it. So that's why they just let the people, you know, again, if you're feeling anything, go there first. Because otherwise, you know, you want to do it correctly and things. Granted, if it happens, like we said, just kind of keep it, it's open-ended. Don't pry. That's what we want. Yeah.
Any questions so far? That's awesome. We're all over it.
That's intense. Yeah.
All right. One of the things to know, social media, I'm gonna keep it simple. We don't want you guys taking pictures and posting pictures of the kids when you're there. You're gonna be there for a quick, short amount of time and probably very busy anyway. We have a social, like actually a media release for the kids that their parents sign. So in our groups, we all know if there's a kid whose mom or dad did not sign that we should not post. And then we also all have our own social medias connected to P4K where we can post stuff. So if you are getting along great or doing a really fun activity with the kids, we may take a picture of that and post it on. And then if you were like, hey, let me take a picture with my little crew here and post it, we're happy to take a picture with the kids and post that on our social media and say, hey, Nebraska Methodist was in the house and we're learning together. Like, we'll celebrate you guys being there, but you guys don't have to worry about that. No selfies with the kiddos.
And same thing if you're like telling a story or something, that there's just not the names in it.
Yep.
You know, there's a lot of ways to, like, vaguely, you're not giving like identifiable, you don't have to say the school you were at even specifically, or the age, or, you know, so you can still tell stories without including all the very specific information about a student or something.
Yep. Next slide. And then something that is inherent for all of us to remember, little people with potential. We were all there in 6th grade. We were all there in 10th grade. Like, we were all flowers ready to blossom. So all of our kids, we're expecting you guys to treat them like the people they're going to become, that you know they're going to be great, that you know they're out going to be future leaders. And we try to hold them accountable to that expectation as much, as often, and as best we can. And like I said, we'll back you up if there are any issues, but there shouldn't be very many issues. This is a fun activity. I'm just trying to be as open and honest about everything as I can. So that you know how the actual session is going to flow, you're going to come for a visit session first. So you're going to get treated like a mentor. We're going to have you set up with a small group of kids to do an activity. When the meeting starts, we give the kids a snack. And then we introduce, hey, you guys, we're going to talk about STEM today. And one of the things that 6th and 7th graders are doing is they're actually doing STEM lessons, exploring Newton's laws of motion and stuff. So we're going to be like, hey, here's a video. This is what we're going to do. And then small group, here's an activity for you guys to do. Here's a discussion for you guys to do together. So that's you and your small team of students and kiddos doing some fun stuff together. Generally some hands-on exploration or discussion-based exploration, or things where you're like, hey man, look this up in your phone, and you look up this in your phone, and then we're going to talk about the difference, or things like that. And then the program coordinator will pull everybody back and maybe have a large group discussion or a Kahoot or something to reinforce the learning for everybody. And that's going to be an hour and a half. We keep it moving. We keep things busy, we keep it flowing, and we give the volunteers usually too much stuff, way more stuff than they need. So when you come for those visits, you'll have all the resources and things handy for you. And next slide, you're actually going to get an overview ahead of time that says, hey, this is what we're going to talk about. This might be what we want you to share. Here's the couple activities and the video we're going to watch or whatever. So that way you can do some homework ahead of time and be ready. And then when we do watch the video, then you're talking with the group, you'd be like, hey, did you see like the guy was dancing in the video? And the kids are like, what? Huh? And you're going to pull it right up on your phone. Like, let's watch it again real quick. See, look, he's dancing right there. So you have all of that stuff at your fingertips to help you be as informed for the activity. And then the flip side of this is you guys are going to come, scroll back one more, that one. You guys are going to make a lesson, and that's what'll happen there. So we'll need some info from you guys to introduce as well as to close out that lesson, but you guys will have to create a lesson and activities and visuals, et cetera, that go with it to fill up that time. Excuse me. Oh. When we lead it, when you lead it, it all should be fun and interesting and engaging. And we'll definitely show you how we do that and how we run our groups, but we also want you to put your personality in stuff. Like, I don't want you guys thinking you got to come and be a copy of Mr. Damien. We want you guys to feel comfortable, practice for this, and be a team that you're working together so that kids are able to see, like, look, this is what college students do. Like, you're going to be a college student one day and you'll have the chance to do this great kind of thing for the community. Oh. Questions? You have anything to add, Lacey?
No, it's not my head now. Any questions?
You guys will all have so many questions right before you go.
Yeah.
The first question I always get is dress code. What should they wear?
Business casual. Like, we want you guys to be comfortable, minus the shorts because of the heat. Like, we're in polos and khakis and stuff with our kids and tennis shoes. Like, we often do activities where we get on the floor, we sit down, or we're messy with the kids. So don't wear your Sunday best. Don't wear your job interview clothes by all means.
I encourage people to wear something that says Nebraska Methodist College if you have it, because it's an opportunity for you to promote that to the students, but also they maybe have never heard of Nebraska Methodist College, and it's a good talking point for them. And then that makes it easy. You can wear an NMC t-shirt or sweatshirt with jeans, or your scrub pants are okay especially if you're coming or going from a clinical site or something where you had to wear your uniform. Some people wear that, and that's fine too.
Yeah, actually, we've only had one group of kids even come here for a tour, so you have a great chance to help lots of kids get familiar with Nebraska Methodist. And if you're with the 7th graders specifically, last year in 6th grade, which was just back in April, they came here for a visit. So that group should have an idea. I'll be honest, like, if you ask somebody what you did in April this year, it would be hard pressed for a lot of us to talk with any depth. So don't expect them to be like, oh yes, Nebraska Methodist College, like I learned about such and such. Like, that's not going to happen, but they will have heard of, they've had Nebraska Methodist students visit. I actually, in my end of the year Kahoot with the kids, was like, hey, what was one of the colleges we had visit us? And then there were people that were like, like I put Nebraska Methodist and then like University of Nebraska, and there were kids were like, was it Nebraska? Like, I can't remember what they said, but it wasn't Methodist, but it was something that started with an M. I was like, you get credit for that. Like, that was close enough.
Question, do they check in at the school before they go into the classroom to teach it?
Yes, you will get information specific about that from every staff person, but one of the things OPS asks is that you stop in and sign in at every building you enter. Some of them will have like a security desk spot for you to do that. Some of them, it will be in the main office, but you'll also then go to the main office and wait to be collected the first time. They don't want you wandering off through the building. And as a team, we talk about that. So we're like, hey, this is the week Nebraska Methodist is coming out, get some students ready to bring your guests back to the classroom. So we make that part easy. And then you'll also have all the staff people's cell phone numbers. So if you get lost or you have to get buzzed into the buildings. And so if traffic happens and you're running a little late, the person that mans that may have gone for the day, but we can still send a kid to go let you in. So just text us or call us.
Will we ever participate in some of the field trips for P4K?
You will totally be invited to if they can fit in your schedule. We would love to have you come because it's just another interaction point. And like when the kids are not in our structured activities and they're kind of a little bit more of themselves, you get to see a little bit more of their personality and have, you know, free flowing discussions, asking about snacks or, you know, what their family is like or celebrations and things they do culturally or whatever you're interested in, because I know you guys are to learn a lot of that stuff as well. So that would be an opportunity. Our middle schools all have specific colleges they tour. So sixth graders come here and tour Bellevue University. Seventh graders tour Metro community colleges, Fort Omaha and South Omaha campus. Eighth graders go to UNO. And the 10th graders, I believe, go to Iowa Western. So lots of college visits, great place to share your own experience about your college decisions. But we also in February have a futures fair, which is like a job fair for 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. And that's where the kids are going around to lots of different booths, asking questions. And it's good for them to have an adult to kind of walk around and help them remember things to ask. So you'll totally be invited to participate in
Easy
that.
way, just if you're following the like Instagram page, the Facebook page. I don't know what to do with Twitter right now, so I don't say that really that much. Instagram, Facebook, and even LinkedIn. If you have a LinkedIn profile, which if you don't have, just you go start that. We usually have different things happening. So we have some opportunities even for volunteering at some of our fundraiser events. If you want to get a different part, we've had volunteers just come in and make college baskets for seniors, you know, graduating. There's some other like one-off things if you want to, you know, do something in a different way. But we also have celebrations for the students, like he's talking about the back to school stuff. And so we're planning an activity, I think, next semester for mentors and mentees together, just to kind of come and like hang out and do something fun. For free. And so those type of things are opportunities where we just like, you know, people to be present. They're still gonna recognize you probably, so you just be in there, it's just extra fun. So follow on those ones and we'll have the updates going from there. That's the easiest instead of having to like, you know, I don't know, ask and email and follow up stuff.
Well, your staff person will share and share and share
Mhm.
lots of those opportunities. So you'll get included on the email list. And then just something that the 10th graders do that you guys might want to participate in is they do mock interviews. So they do have to go through that whole job interview experience. And sometimes it's good to have a friendly face for that practice as well.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, whenever I get from P4K, if I ever find out about volunteer opportunities, I send it out to you all too. And often the next, like even like my last semester students, when that came up, like
Yeah.
in March, you had a big event,
Yep.
bowling, or some fun event.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
sent it out to the students from the previous semester to say, hey, if you want to go to this, it'd be a great time to
Right.
reach out.
As a volunteer recruiter, I can tell you that most of the stuff we offer free things if you come to just get re-engaged in case you have opportunities to volunteer in a different way now. Like say you really like this and you like being with the students. We have a lot of different professionals coming in volunteering with them after school. It is a really good experience, especially if you're interested in youth. And connecting that way. So if you're interested later on or something, you know, we have those events and those are the great ones to follow up on. Oh, dang it, I had to do that. Oh, we're also going to be getting, and I'm sure you're going to hear about this, we'll get a new volunteer thing. It's going to be an app where you just have to put your profile on there and you can see like all of the different volunteer experiences that if one just comes up all of a sudden and you're like, oh, that one's cool. Like I just sign up there. It's called FOMO purchase, but there's other opportunities in the Omaha area as well that are going to be on there too. So that's in November. Stay tuned. Then you guys can kind of select all of your stuff outside of this.
Yeah, to answer that question, for this course, the two things that are required are the first visit and then the second visit when you go and present. And that's what you're presenting as a team. And I'll be giving more details because Davian sent like some overview, like for my COM320 students who are doing effective communication. I think your students are doing suicide awareness.
I think anxiety.
Managing
anxiety.
anxiety.
Sorry, we did suicide
Managing
awareness last
anxiety
year.
and social pressure.
Yeah. Sorry.
I like that one.
Yeah, so there's some resources they've already developed that helps you kind of get some ideas. Okay, these are like main topics that we want to cover, but then you get to decide on the activities, and that's where you get to use your creativity, but also you just got to remember what it's like to be a sixth grader or a 10th grader and really bring that high energy. They do allow, in the past, students have said, like, can we bring stuff to like encourage involvement, like candy or something? They have said that's okay. If you have like something like you want to do a raffle prize and you want some NNC swag or something, please reach out to me. That's what your plan, you'll submit a presentation plan to me. It's about 2 to 3 weeks before you go to present. If you have anything that you want or that you need, or you need copies made or something like that. That's the other thing. You'll want to send your slides to the site director in advance, because then you don't have to go through the OPS internet issue. Sometimes people bring their own device, but then it's hard to connect. So if you just send it to and I'll send all these reminders. You don't have to remember all this right now, but I'll send a reminder to do that. But just so you're aware, I have some type of visual aid you want to send in, and then are there things that you want to do to kind of encourage participation? A little freebie giveaway. Candy seems to be.
They're super competitive. Like a lot of youth are really competitive. So like the Kahoot thing is one of them. I mean, I've even done like race things or something, if you're good at whatever it is, but they're very.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it is. Just like I had slides for Allison, you get us the slides, we'll have it worked in. Most of our staff does like a PowerPoint for their lessons. We all have screens and stuff to use, so we'll be able to show videos and just have all of that stuff ready to go. If there's handouts, we can make copies and all that stuff, so that everything you send us, we'll have ready to go, and then you can just show up.
All right, well, thank you all so much. Their class ends at 1:50, so this is
Okay.
perfect timing. And for everyone, well, let's thank our guests. Stop recording this. Thank you for those that are online. I'm gonna end our meeting now.